A breaking alert right now at 6. A suspect is on the run after a string of sexual attacks on women in the USF area.
We also know that man fired shots during all of this. Laura Harris is at the Cambridge Woods Apartments right now where this is all happening. Good morning, Laura.
And Dia, things continue to unfold as we get new information coming in by the minutes. And right now we have Detective Larry McKinnon with us right now, who's going to give us an update on what's going on.
Good. Okay, I'll give you a preliminary rundown of what occurred, which started sometime around 11 o'clock last night. Sheriff's Office received a call from Florida Hospital indicating that there were women inside the hospital that were reported to be raped here in this apartment complex. Deputies got at the hospital and found that we did in fact have 4 victims of sexual battery, 4 female adults. They came back here to the Cambridge apartments where the incident occurred, and we found 4 males inside the apartment that had been bound and tied. They were able to free themselves. Those individuals had instruction from a suspect, a black male, 20 to 30 years of age, not to call the police for approximately 30 minutes, so they delayed calling, but we got back to the scene before they were able to notify us. We began that investigation. We know now that the suspect had left that address and gone to another apartment complex, the Eagle Point, where he then forced his way into a woman's house. That woman, that was in the Tampa Police Department's jurisdiction. That woman was able to establish a conversation with him, and he left without harming her or committing any offenses against her other than coming inside of her apartment. He then left from that apartment, came back to the Oaks apartment, which is in the same vicinity, and forced his way into an apartment where an ongoing party was being held. There was approximately 25 people inside that apartment. He then forced those 25 people into a back bedroom at gunpoint, but for whatever reason, he left before committing any offenses there other than firing 1 shot into the ground. He came outside that apartment. There was another individual walking back to his apartment. He confronted him, attempted to rob him. That individual began fleeing, and the suspect fired multiple shots at him. And fortunately, he was not struck, but the outside of his door, as the victim was going inside his apartment, was struck. So fortunately, we can say that individual was not hit. While that was ongoing, the deputies here at the initial rape scene heard the gunshots and were able to run across to the apartment complex across from us, where he was able to, they actually got a brief glimpse of the suspect running from the scene. We had already had quite a bit of assets up here. We immediately began tracking with canine and a bloodhound, and the suspect ended up running through the complex and into the golf course where the bloodhound lost the trail. So right now we do have a very good description of the suspect. We do have some very good leads. We have a lot of law enforcement, both with Tampa Police and Sheriff's Office up here, not only conducting the investigation, but continuing to patrol the area to make sure that the residents up here are safe. We will continue throughout the day trying to develop the identity of the suspect, and hopefully we'll have some results by the end of this afternoon.
Larry, as you can imagine, a lot of people around here are very scared, especially students over at USF. What are you telling them at this point?
Well, several of these incidents occurred because the doors were either left open or unlocked. As always, we suggest people always keep their doors locked, always make sure that when they go out to their cars, that they're mindful of what's going on. And of course, during this incident, we're going to ask them to be even more vigilant of that. We're going to have a lot of assets, a lot of law enforcement up here throughout the day, so we'll be heavily saturating the area, so that'll at least be here during this investigation until we can get them captured. So, we're asking the public that anyone that may have information regarding this suspect or knowledge of this incident to give us a call.
At this point, do you have any kind of description or any kind of identifying clothing or anything that you can release?
It was dark. They just got a brief description, just a brief glimpse of him. He could be wearing anything at this point, but we know he's a black male between 20 and 30 years of age, and medium build, standard height, and so that at that point, that's where we're going on from right now. We do have some good leads, and I'll just leave it at that.
Any indication that he lived in any of the apartments in this area?
We have some good leads. I don't want to expand any more upon that, but you know, we know that all the incidents occurred up here. On one of the incidents where the party was going, it was simply the guy was going out taking the trash and had left his door open and then came back inside and found the suspect in there. So, you know, it's very important that you keep your doors locked, even going out to the trash, going out to your car momentarily. So we continue to ask that, especially during this incident, and until at least we get this guy captured.
Prior to the women going to the hospital last night, have there been any reports of any rapes in the immediate area recently that you know of?
We'll continue researching that. We're working closely with the Tampa Police Department. This is a very close line between the city's jurisdiction and the county's jurisdiction, so we have been working with their law enforcement personnel and detectives throughout the night, and we'll be evaluating and looking at any cases that may have occurred over the last several days, weeks, that may have similarities to this event. We know that the events that occurred tonight are all connected, and they all appeared to be random. So until that suspect is captured, you know, we're going to continue to ask people to be vigilant. We're going to assure people that we have a lot of personnel up here to make sure that that they're safe. You know, of course, we know this is close by the USF campus, so we'll be closely working with the USF police and letting them know as well, you know, our activity and what's going on.
Is the alert still in place for USF and campus out of the north area?
I don't know if that's still active. I'll check and find out. But, of course, they've been notified and everybody's been made aware. So everybody's on high alert. Everybody's going to continue their vigilance and keeping an eye out for the suspect. And the important thing is if you see anything suspicious, you know, to let law enforcement know, whether it's the Tampa Police, USF, or Sheriff's Office, and immediately call 911. And most importantly, keep your doors locked and just keep a good eye out for your own safety.
Larry, I'm noticing that there's still a lot of activity inside that apartment, I guess, where those 4 individuals were bound and gagged. I mean, what did they find inside? Was anything taken, fingerprints, that type of thing?
Well, we have a battery of law enforcement crime scene technicians. We have detectives out here from various different parts of the agency. We have a lot of this typical CSI forensic processing of evidence. So there'll be a lot of different stuff that'll be collected inside that apartment to help identify this individual and to also help prosecute him once we do find him. And we're confident we will find him very quickly.
Still hospitalized, or were they treated?
I don't have a condition of where they're at present. We know that, you know, obviously it was a very violent assault. Any time of sexual battery, we consider that a very violent assault. Fortunately, nobody was shot in this incident. Nobody was injured as a result of the gunshots. But as far as the 4 women, we do know that they are still being treated at the hospital. But as far as the extent of their injuries in relationship to any gunshots or any attack outside of you know, the initial rape, I don't have any information on that. Thank you very much.
And you've been watching a live news conference with the Hillsborough County Sheriff spokesperson Larry McKinnon on the overnight crime spree in the USF area. Apparently one suspect still on the loose this morning, responsible for multiple sexual batteries. We're told 4 women being treated for that right now. Multiple home invasions, shots fired, and an attempted robbery. Again, that suspect still on the run, and residents in that USF area urged to stay indoors, keep their doors locked.